They want to have a barbecue on the township parking lot next Friday.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Sorry.
OHI wanted to have a barbecue using that little lot next to the building and close it off on Friday, the 26th.
I have no problem if we just ask for a special letter and whatever, just make sure that they're okay with it.
On a Friday.
Yeah, right, yeah. They'll be done by 12:30.
Doesn't say the time on here.
Right, doesn't,
find out
find
the
out the time,
time.
find out the time. Later in the day is for sure better. The later in the day, the better, but get us exact time.
They have to ask us before they close their lot?
That's not their lot, it's ours.
It's our lot.
It's our lot,
Oh,
parking lot.
Unless you gave it to them and
This is the
didn't tell us.
municipal lot?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
You know, if they shut it down, is
Hey,
that
ask the- yeah,
is
ask
that
them-
going to affect any other businesses?
That's the question.
here?
Ask them for the exact time, and while you're asking that question, let them know the later in the day certainly will be
Because
better.
it's probably going to be in mid-afternoon or lunchtime area.
Fine. I think once you pass 12:30, it'll be okay.
There's a lot of buses that offload at like 12, 12:30, so.
Why don't we tell them if it's
1
after
o'clock.
2 o'clock, or you want to go, or 1:30?
What's today's date?
Today's the 18th.
The date?
It's next Friday,
Yeah.
yeah.
I wonder if it's a date, much, is
No,
it after?
Shavuot, no, Shavuot is-
Oh. So you gotta just,
Yeah,
you just
make
gotta
sure
double
it's
check with the school there to make sure that, otherwise it's gonna be closed and you're gonna have the whole dismissal going.
Why don't we do this? Could you find out from Usher when his bus are gone, and I'll speak to sushi guy and find out when.
Can I call him right now? Find out?
What about the stores in the area?
I'll do it right now.
I could ask that
What
guy.
about the stores in the area?
So, Manash said he was.
I just thought we were going to knock it out of hands.
Yeah, I have a quick question for you, Rabbi. This Friday, what time is the dismissal?
Next Friday.
Next Friday, the 26th. Yeah. Because we have a request to do something with OHI, I just want to make sure we're not all tripping over each other. By 12:30, everybody's out? We don't know, okay. I don't know. Okay, thanks, Mike. So all that dismissal is done by 12:30, 12:40.
So is 1:30 a safe time? Do you want to tell them they can do it from 2 o'clock on?
No, I think
I
you
would
can
think
do it
so,
from
too.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock on.
As long as, yeah.
But
By
not
12:40, the
before 1
school's
o'clock.
out.
Not before 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, you can start the parking lot.
You
not a
okay
minute
with that?
before.
What time is
Yeah.
the last school bus let out?
Between
12:40.
12:30 and 12:40.
What about the stores there?
I thought you closed, you know, with kids and everything, no?
They're gone. By 12:40
They're gone?
they're gone.
On Friday, yeah.
Nobody's hanging out extra.
Yeah.
So maybe 1 o'clock. I think 1 o'clock should be okay.
All right, after 1 PM, Tom?
I think so.
Okay, I mean, just a certain part of the parking lot, right? Not the whole thing?
Why not?
They're going to use the whole thing. I mean, it's not that big a parking
It's a
lot.
small lot.
Okay, well, I didn't know if we had other business there.
Oh, you're gonna find out. Oh, Menashe's
Yes,
gonna
I'm
find out
calling-
from the businesses.
I'll
in the
call
area.
the guy that, yeah, your friend. Yeah, our friend. I'll give him the call.
All right, so you'll,
Yeah, I know, but it's okay, I'll speak to him.
you'll take care of it then?
Yeah. You know, I got along with him, I ordered food for him, one meal over here, so I gave his friend now. He was happy.
Okay.
Okay, next on the list is, I gave everybody a copy of the streets, and a draft of the streets and sidewalks, the ordinance we're going to do for road repair. And I put, you know, I gave that to you about a week ago. If you can review it, you know, put it on for next meeting, and I have Jeff here for that one also. That's
Well,
what-
let's have Jeff here before we put it on. We'll discuss it at the next meeting.
Well, no, that's what I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
just put it
okay.
on, yeah, just bring it here for discussion.
Okay, good.
Is that all right? All right, number 6 is, everybody, we have a letter in front of us from Lee Labor.
My opinion is they could do it Saturday, don't do it Sunday.
I'm sorry?
I asked them if they would consider doing it on Saturday rather than Sunday. Sunday's an extremely busy day downtown.
Okay. And if they say no?
We can't close it, it's too busy over there.
Okay.
This is a letter to the chief. Has the chief responded?
He probably sent it up to us.
He wouldn't respond until we did.
Yeah.
All right.
They did it last year, but I think we told them, or we
And they
told them,
moved- and
they
they
moved it.
moved it.
They did it last year and they moved it for us. I think we should tell them the same thing. More than welcome to do it, but please, yeah.
It's a safety issue too. I mean, there won't be that many cars
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
street that
Yeah,
day either. Sunday,
exactly.
I don't want anybody
Mhm.
getting killed.
Right, next on the list is attics and parking, Mayor, if you want to.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, we had a meeting with the planning and zoning officials, and some of the issues they brought up from, I think it was a letter from the planning board. We don't have a copy of that, do we? The planning board letter here?
No, I don't think so.
I may have.
Okay. But anyway, they had some ideas. It was to do with attics being used as finished living space in regards to whether they'd be considered for additional parking requirements out front. They also had some concerns about commercial parking. I think right now our ordinance says one spot for every 300 square feet. They had suggested going down to 200 square feet. Cedar Bridge Development, I think theirs is 250 square feet. So I had suggested maybe that we use that as a compromise and go from 300 to 250 around the whole town. And what was the third one? The Shules, yeah, thank you. Again, talking about the difference in creating some parking based on the size, the square footage of the shul.
Starting
So-
from the first,
Right.
from foot number one.
So what I do is ask you guys to read over this at the next meeting. Let's discuss it. We'll get some ideas as to something if it's, we want to consider it, moving on to it. This particular one is only for the attics, correct? I think basically, guys, what it comes down to is if a house has an attic, and that attic has a walk-up staircase to it from the inside.
Finished floor space.
Right, it's going to be considered a habitable attic, quote, and it would be considered as one bedroom.
But that's only for zoning, not for building, right?
Right. So that's something to look at, get some ideas on it.
Okay.
Basically to differentiate between a habitable attic, which has the walk-up safe staircase into it, as
36-inch
opposed to an
staircase.
uninhabitable attic that would have either a pull-down stair or a ladder or something like that to it. Okay?
Isaac was asking the difference between building and zoning. One is to allow for the parking, but building is controlled by, it's the BCA, it used to be called lakewood, I forgot what it's called now.
RISI?
UCC, isn't it? Uniform Construction Code.
Yeah, the UCC. So the UCC says when you have to, I don't know if there's different types of constructions. There was talk at one point about doing sprinkler systems if you had a couple of habitable floors. So that's what I was asking. I'm assuming that the construction code would have to be done the way the construction code is done. I just want to make sure we're not minimizing what you have to do with the construction code.
Well, I would check with Sacramento, you know, so things like that.
All right, Tom, if you send a
But
copy
we
of this
picked
over to
7
Mike for
feet.
his
I don't know where that
input.
came from.
What's that?
I don't know, where we 7 feet, maybe construction code is 6 feet, I just
Oh,
don't
okay, I see
know.
what you're saying. Yeah, so
You know
that's
what I mean?
Mike for his input on this too.
It was,
so.
it was Sacramento's definition of
Oh.
habitable. He
oh.
gave us the definition
Oh,
of
okay.
habitable attic.
Then you don't have to ask him.
Okay.
I'm sure
Pulled it
that's what he
from-
wrote.
That's right.
All right, so you want to bring it back up in June?
Yeah, and then do me a favor, have that letter from the planning board too, with the other 2 items on it, so we can discuss it a little bit more thoroughly.
Okay, number 8 is lobbyists at board meetings.
Okay, Steve, I need, and Harold, your input on this. We had a complaint at, I think it was the planning board, that before the meeting, people were coming up to members of those boards and quote lobbying them for their projects. Now, I don't have specific names or who they were doing or what the projects were, but is that appropriate? I mean, should that, should people who are going to testify before the board be discussing projects with them?
Well,
Before the board starts?
The answer to that, Mayor, is no, but I have to see evidence of it before I can, somebody could be coming up and say, hey, you had a birthday party, if you kid, everything seems fun, I don't know. But to specifically talk.
Well, I think,
about-
again, I was told that they were showing plans, or at least pictures of things and
No,
stuff like
everything
that.
has to be done on the record in front of the entire board, and ex parte a board.
Do me a favor then, would you prepare a letter to both John Jackson and Jerry Dasty, the zoning and planning board attorneys, asking them to pay specific attention to what goes on before or even after the meetings, to make sure that none of this is going on, and that they discuss it with the boards to inform them of what the appropriate behavior with the public and with professionals that come before those boards is?
Sure will.
Okay?
Yeah, there's another, I mean, if I may, there's another, I know by the zoning
Oh,
board.
actually, can I play? Do you see that happening when you're at the board?
I'm not there very often, but this is my other question. So I know by the zoning board, they say it's like a
Quasi-judicial.
Quasi-judicial, so
Right.
it's even
And
more.
you can't talk to them at all. You can't talk to an applicant about their application outside of the zoning board. And my question is if the same thing applies, because I have that all the time. People call me up with like minor questions. I don't even remember who's what. And then, and I wouldn't even know which ones to abstain from and which ones not to abstain from, so.
Well, if it's not a quorum, then it's not a board meeting, but it would be the same thing, we get questions about this all the time. You try a jury case, and a jury gets on an elevator with you, you can't say, gee, how do you think my case is going? I mean, you can't do that stuff, you know?
Right, so an applicant, when they're preparing their plans, they ask you, is this something I should push for, is this not something I should push for?
They should go to the professionals, they should go to the board engineer,
Right.
those guys can talk.
Like once, my
beforehand.
question is, I assume myself, I assume that once that happens to me, I have to abstain or recuse myself.
Are you offering advice, or they just question you?
Well, I tell them like the board likes to see sidewalks, you should put in sidewalks, stuff like that. Or, when they ask technical questions.
I would recommend that you just refer them over to the professionals. If they want to,
Yeah.
what people have done with me is they've actually sent me letters about zoning issues, and I've just forwarded them over to Tom and said, please send these to the correct boards.
And they can always ask for an informal hearing before the planning board. I don't know if Lakewood's planning board does that, but if they had a concept plan or they had ideas and they're trying to bounce off board members, no, let it come to an informal, come in, say, this is what we're thinking about, what do you guys think? That's a setting where the
That's the
full board
board's
can
job,
talk.
that's not our
Yeah.
job. Our job is to tell you.
Our job is to make sure the boards are doing their job properly, so that's why I'm asking, please draft the letter in the strongest terms possible to pay close attention to what goes on, the conversations that are being had between members and professionals and even members of the public.
And I think the best thing for you to do is to say, look, upon the advice of our attorneys, I really can't discuss this with you. However, our professionals are more than happy to spend time. This way you can say, my lawyer said I can't do this.
But if someone does speak to a board, if a board member does speak to an applicant, do they have to recuse themselves? At the zoning board, I know Dasty says that they.
I remember when I was on the board, the exposure, I was on the zoning board, so it was different. People really couldn't speak to you before, but we took a lot of these classes, the MLU classes. So it seemed, from what I remember, you were allowed to speak to a planning board member beforehand because a planning board member is not a quasi-judicial body. But the caution on the planning board member, exactly what you just said, is if you gave the impression that if you do A, B, C, and D, then things are going to go well, and then they come in front of the board and there's a problem, then they say, what do you mean? I spoke to you. You told me to do A, B, C, and D, and now I got
You
voted
should not be
down.
doing that. Again,
That
Tom,
was the issue.
just make sure the two attorneys, kind of give a little refresher course to the board on what the correct and incorrect actions and interactions with
Do you
people.
guys still have to take those classes that I used to take them? when I was on the
You
zoning
have to
board?
take them once, every
Every
board,
2
every
years,
member
right?
has, no, now I think every board member is supposed to take them once.
Just once?
Yeah, when you come on, that's what
Oh, yeah.
they send.
Okay.
We check the roll call, they will.
Yeah, and just send me a copy of the letters that you sent out to them as well. Yeah, thanks. Tom?
All right, so, okay, number 9 is easement, underground wires, Harold?
Yeah, Mayor, this is the one we were talking about. There's a parcel on Squonka Road, block 169, lot 33.01. The electricity is on it looks like the east side of Park Place, and the property is on the west side of Park Place. They want to run underground wiring to it instead of overhead. JCP&L says, we're not responsible for the easement, property owner, you have to go get the easement. So we've been asked to grant an easement over the 50-foot right-of-way, 40-foot right-of-way at Park Place, where they're mole under, probably not even open up the road.
Under the street itself?
Yeah, under the street to run wires. It's only for electrical connection. And Mayor, I got a call again from the attorney just before leaving, asking about how he could go forward, because he's trying to get his
Yeah, people
his road
call
open.
me about issues with JCP&L many times, and it seems that they're finally coming to a close where they could get their building up, but now they need this easement because they don't want to run the overhead wiring. Which I'm surprised, because overhead is cheaper. Maybe it just doesn't look good over the street. I
We
don't
have
know.
less trouble underground too.
So they want to go through our street, but I think their issue is that if, from, I don't know if this is like an administrative thing that could just be done, or if it's an easement that has to go through,
2 readings.
it has to go through 2 ordinances. So what they asked me was, and I told them to speak to you about it, was could they proceed at their own risk, because they don't want to wait 6 to 8 weeks to first start the work. They want to be able to put down some sort of a bond, and then if everything works out, move ahead. If not, not. I just don't know the answer.
Yeah, these are gonna be pro forma, I think. If you've got the clearance to go underground, it should be fine. The lawyer called me and said, do you have an easement, because we're trying to do this thing. I drafted it for him, sent it, he's given me the meets and bounds description for it, so we can grant it. It's a limited just to the wires going underground. It puts all the obligation, all the responsibility on the,
It has no effect on our property, correct?
no, it's going under the street.
No, I mean, the utility companies do it all the time, the gas company and
Right,
everybody.
but here, because it's the public right of way, JCP&L saying, we're not getting this, you go to the town and get it.
Because they would rather go over, okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Does anybody have a problem granting that easement?
No, but I think the second question was,
Can they go forward?
can
Can
they
they
go
get-
forward at their own risk until it gets
Yeah, they need a
completed?
road opening permit to do it.
I don't know the answer to that.
Well, if they need a road opening permit, they can't get that without the easement, correct?
Unless the committee's gonna say, yeah, go ahead and do it at your own risk and start digging it on the ground. When I talked to Burton, Noah Burton is the attorney for him. When I talked to him, I said, are they molding under the road instead of?
Are they
opening it
moulding?
up? Yeah, it's a mold, it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
thing that.
Yeah, I know
digs.
what they do.
Yeah, and it sounded like that's what they should do for wires. I mean, this is not a big hole, and that would have no disturbance, but you still need a road opening permit to do it. I don't think you can do anything up that affects the roadway without drawing on. When you do the call out, make sure you don't have any pipes or anything.
Well, look, if we do the first reading June 8th, correct? That's our next meeting? What's our meeting after that?
Be the 22nd.
So, I mean, a worst-case scenario, if all goes well, they're looking at June 22nd, so about 30 days. I don't want to tell the planning board, or the engineering office, rather, to give a permit. Do they need the easement to get the road opening permit?
What is you made a good point, right? What is every utility has easements? What is when I did my house 10 years ago, they cut they put in a water line in front on 14, I think it was a water line, maybe a gas line, I don't remember. So wherever you go, right, every road opening permit that's taken is on our property. Why is that an easement?
No.
It's on our road, I mean. So the utilities have easements all over?
They come in, they come in automatically and.
So why is this different?
Because it's the electrical company, they don't have an easement to go underground and do this. They can go overhead, and I think that the blanket easement that the electric company has is for wires above, not underground.
All right, got it. Okay.
So what are we doing? We'll do the ordinance for June 8th,
Yeah, it's
but
ready to go, I can post it.
I don't know what to
5
tell
minutes.
the applicant.
I don't know, if it's molding under, I think they could probably do it at their own risk. I mean, they know that we're putting it up for a first read. It's so.
Right,
pro
discuss that
forma.
with the engineering department. If they're okay with it, I'm okay with it. If
Okay.
they're not okay with it, then they have to wait for the second
Okay,
reading.
and I'll put it up tomorrow.
Is that
It's all
acceptable?
ready to go, the ordinance is ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they may ask them to bond or do something to,
They'll ask them to
do it
bond
at their
anyway.
own risk, they'd have to pull it out if
They have to bond anyway, right?
I guess, for road opening?
Sure.
Yeah.
But you have to put down money every time you do a road opening permit, you gotta do a bond.
All right. I'll go back to Stabler and see if they're amenable.
All right, next on the list is number 10, parking. Mayor?
Mayor, me
Oh,
or mayor?
not me. I don't know what we're talking about with this
I don't
one.
either. Oh, somebody approached me about East Kennedy Boulevard. If you look at the map, there's a big shul. You see where that white building is highlighted?
Mhm.
Yeah. So all this is township property. So the request that I got was, do we think that, probably they would want us to do it, but the first question is, would we allow for a town lot there? Maybe we could make some sort of a deal where they construct it, or the shul constructs it. In other words, it's a very highly used shul in that area.
So this is in the right-of-way that would have been the expanded Kennedy Boulevard?
Correct.
This is on our right-of-way of Kennedy Boulevard, that's correct.
But it looks like they're leaving, I mean, they're gonna leave 50 or 60 feet?
Yeah.
Now, Kennedy Boulevard is there, it's just
Yeah.
that that
Right, but
right-of-way
This
is
is here.
still over there.
No,
But
this
I
is
think
on
it's 100
grass.
is it
I don't
100?
think they're going on the existing blacktop. I think this is
No.
grass. If
Yeah,
you
they
look
can't
at
disturb
look at
the-
the blocks on either side of it, you see? There's grass. There's no,
It's officially, I mean, the
a right-of-way,
right-of-way
that's
is
grass.
120 feet?
I don't remember
And
the
there's a
number.
road there also? It looks like, I mean, this is a...
There is a
Kennedy
road.
Boulevard is there.
There's a
The
regular
right-of-way
road
was
there.
vacated for us when the county decided they weren't gonna do the,
Right, but I think the total is 120 feet, that's because I think the road is actually here.
the road is there, yeah.
Right. And then this is just their,
It's a regular road. The Kennedy Boulevard, where it says Kennedy Boulevard use is currently a road, where this parking is being asked for is currently grass. Now, I don't know if the neighbors are okay, you know what I mean? I didn't speak to everybody, but I did get a request through the shul.
Well, this is right by Coventry, right?
No.
No?
This is
All the way
down past,
it's in your neck of the woods.
no,
No?
it's not. It's not. This
It's in Main
is,
Street.
We don't have Kennedy Boulevard.
this is
by me.
between the back of Brook Hill and Somerset
Oh.
on Kennedy.
Oh, okay, I got you.
It's like behind,
Is there an association for that neighborhood?
So they
I don't
want to
think
pay for
so.
the parking?
they probably were asking if we would do it, but I don't know that we would.
I don't think we can.
Okay, but the question is, if they would do it, would we allow them to have the road? What was they're asking if they could create a parking lot on an hour right away for the use of the neighborhood, so that, because if you drive through
As long
there,
as
the
it wasn't
neighborhood's always
private,
packed
I
up.
don't see an issue. with it.
Hours.
Again, it would be up to the legal department. But
When we met a couple of years ago, we met, I forgot who, maybe the county, I don't remember who, but
Mhm.
the mayor and I, Mayor Lichtenstein and I, and the discussion, what I remember, what we discussed at the time, I think what we brought back to the committee was that for the whole Kennedy, we should be looking what people want. Some areas may want a basketball court, some, different areas
Or
might want
trail,
different things.
road, right.
At least for the 70 feet that's not needed, the
For a
70
road,
feet that's
right.
not needed for road. So I don't have a problem if, I'm paying for it is another question, but if the neighbors there are fine with it, and it'll enhance their neighborhood. Some
They're
neighborhoods
asking
will-
for an easement, Steve, to put to put a parking lot on our right away. To service the
It can be
neighborhood.
done, you gotta run it by engineering, make sure it's not even for any other.
I'm thinking about from a legal perspective, it's okay?
That's okay.
So if they have a homeowners association, I'll tell them to go through a homeowners association. If not, I'll tell them to get a bunch of signatures from the area.
And to let them know that if we did grant it, they would be constructing it.
They would
have
pay
to
for
remain
it.
as
Okay,
public parking.
okay.
We can put meters up, make money.
So, Mayor, are you gonna go to engineering on this?
Well, first I'm gonna tell them that they're paying, that they're
Okay.
gonna pay for it and see if they want, then I'll let them figure out where to go from there.
Okay.
Which Steve got?
I don't know.
Tom, are any of these property requests executive session items? Will we be discussing price, or can they be done in open?
Some of it,
I have a question for you, Steve.
Yeah, sorry.
The property requests, I know I've had some concerns in the past. Are any of these executive session material, because we're discussing negotiations or prices,
No,
or?
with Tom's just putting them in a separate category now, they're all open. so-
Okay, good. So let's do the property requests, and then I'll kick everybody out. We have plenty of time, so. What's that? Well, finish it off. I'm done.
okay. Everybody in your red folder? Number one is a requested right-of-way vacation of Sampson Avenue, Bruce Street. This is from Aaron Finkelstein.
What, for some reason I remember this.
Didn't we do this a long time ago?
Here. You got next one? Yeah. Okay, give it to you.
So if 19 and 20 consolidate, I don't know which is, oh. I don't know why, I'm just remembering this from someplace.
Yeah, it's on, if you go to the back page, you can.
I see it, no, but we had this discussion once. This guy was,
Yeah, we said to leave it alone because there's nothing they're gonna do with it, right? Isn't that the one?
trying to remember, this came up for,
Yeah, we just had this 2
this
weeks
came up
ago.
for a vote. Oh, shoot. Let me think for a second.
What about the lots on the other side of it? Have those, those
Well, 19 and 20,
are next door to each other on one side of it?
Right,
You've got
so-
lot 22 on the opposite side of it.
well, lot 20, oh, I see what they're saying. Okay, I got it. Okay, I got it. So what engineering is saying is that they're only, well, let's forget
The only
about the
need
neighbors
for it
for
is
a
lot
second.
20.
You only need it for access to lot 20, right? And if it's combined, then there's no need for access. But now the question becomes, that's what Ray was saying, would lot 22 agree to this? Because that lot 22 has to accept half the vacation, correct? Is that what you're asking?
Not only they have to accept it, they have to approve it, because we
Right.
don't do vacations if they're not.
All right, so as long, and what about the lot, that little lot in the back, 5201? I guess they have frontage on Dewey.
They do, and that doesn't make them landlocked because of the frontage on Dewey. And I think if that
That-
dead ends, I don't think they have a right to it. It's
Yeah, they-
behind
they-
it.
They don't. Yeah, they-
Is that an easement for something? It looks, it's only 10 foot wide. Are you sure it's not an easement for utilities or something? Why would it even be there?
So I would agree with Ray. I think as long as engineering could confirm that it's not needed for an easement of any sort, or that if it is an easement, the easement transfers with the property and whoever has the easement now is okay with it, and those two lots get combined, and the new lot plus lot 22 all agree to it, then that would make sense. Do you follow me?
All right, so I'll send it to R&B to see if there's an easement. And then see if they want to consolidate. Was it 20?
Well, no, that's the condition here. That's why they're asking for it.
Yeah, that's what,
So 22 on the opposite side of it has to be an agreement. They have to agree that they're going to combine lots 19 and 20. And we have to make sure, it's only 10 foot, it just doesn't make sense that it's there for no
Yeah,
reason.
okay.
And you know what, 5 foot's not going to make a difference to somebody's property. I would just assume leave it, but.
Okay.
What's that?
Okay, number 2 is a driveway request. If everybody wants to take a look at the letter, read the letter, please, and then take a look at the map.
what is this? New Hampshire.
Hang on, a guy once came to us, I missed this, but a guy once came to us and he was supposed to tell him before it ever happens.
Is this right by the car
Oh, I know what this
dealerships?
is. Yeah, but it called, yes, it is.
Something happened over here, I don't remember what. Oh, here, February 2017.
He wants to just put a driveway in. I mean, right, it's a roadway, a township roadway, but no one's utilizing it, so he just asking permission, can I put a driveway there?
As opposed to having
To
constructed.
do the whole road. He goes, it's only servicing my house, so why don't I just make a
For
driveway?
some reason, I remember there being I
Yeah, but-
remember Pineville maybe called us?
Yeah, I think, this goes back a couple of years. I mean, but, guys, you're not going to put garbage cans out on New Hampshire Avenue. You know, how are we supposed to pick up the garbage and stuff like that?
And fire. When he gets it, he doesn't have frontage on the road.
You know, he's set back
How
from
does
the
any
road.
house, how do you get to any house? No, we're gonna- Fire, any house is back on a long driveway, how do you get to it? They have to deal with it, but garbage, what Ray's saying, is a different story. How do you get to the house?
And turning in and off of, that's going to be dangerous.
How come we didn't run this by engineering first? Oh, he said that he did?
No, he didn't.
Yeah,
He said that he did.
I think we should run this by engineering and see what they think about the fire and the sanitation and that kind of stuff, Mayor.
Well, it says in the one sentence, it says township engineer indicated grant the request.
We don't have the request. I want it from them. I don't want somebody's word on
Yeah.
it, so send it to the engineering department and also to Public Works and to the fire department and see what they say. Because it doesn't even say how wide of a driveway he wants to put
Driveway,
in.
not pick up your garbage. Technically, he, I understand.
You can't do that.
I have a
because
question.
then-
Technically, this guy could build a house here tomorrow. He could
No,
build a
he
house here
can't.
tomorrow, sure he
No,
could.
he can't. He has
Why
to go
not?
f- Because he has to go for a permit.
I got a building permit.
No, you can't get a building permit.
I don't need a
on-
driveway to
He
get to
doesn't
my
have
house.
frontage. He
Other than
doesn't
the
have frontage
driveway.
on a roadway.
You would
He
have to
has
go to the
frontage on
zoning board.
Paper Street, you probably have to.
Technically,
He
he's
has
supposed to put it
frontage?
in the street.
He
You
has
have to
frontage
approve
where?
Paper Street.
On a roadway, on a paper
And you
street.
would have to put, improve
Well,
Now,
the whole
there's
road.
also
That's
another
the zoning
home, there's
board.
another
You have
property
to get
owner
a-
further back,
you have to
according
get
to this
a
map.
variance. You can't
Yeah,
just
that's,
go on the back of a paper road and put in a house.
That's what it is.
You have it on Vine Street. On Paper Road, Vine Street, you have houses on those,
So maybe they got a.
County.
What's it called?
for a house?
No, there's another
Yeah.
pink
There's no
spot here.
existing street there right now.
There's a paper
That
street.
road
Right.
goes to.
Exactly.
You get something with the
Build
county.
it.
Yeah.
At the edge of an unimproved road without a variance. Is that correct, Harold?
What's that?
If you want to build a house without frontage on an improved roadway, you need a variance from the Board of Adjustment, right?
Well, they don't let you do that.
Unless you get a variance.
Yeah, but you're not, they can't really grant you variance. How do you comply with RSIS standards? Your
Oh.
house has to have frontage on a road.
It has frontage on a road, but not an improved road.
It's a
One
paper
second,
street.
there's two things. There's
Right.
one thing is where if, let's say, you have an easement through someone's property, they could drive through someone's property, so the property is not, the back
Okay.
property is not abutting